Hello, everybody. Welcome to NUFC Talk TV. Good morning, good afternoon in the UK. Good morning in the US. How's it going? It's
Stupid
me and
o'clock
my
in the
win.
morning.
What was that?
Stupid o'clock in the morning in the US, isn't it?
6 in the morning, man.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
usually I've already I wake up to go to work at this time, so it's no big deal. The pressers are crazy, 3 in the morning, but we don't have to do that for a while now. So got some transfer news to bring you. Of course, we're not gonna have a night show today, so we got you. We got to bring you a daily show, so we're gonna bring you this show. We got the show yesterday to go to, and of course Monday we discuss some news. We'll be back tomorrow again at 9:30 p.m. UK with the renew or release show. Certain individuals might need to go. So anyway, Terry Thomas says you should move together. You should move in together. Well, it
No,
is what
thank
it is.
you.
No thanks. I'm good. Anyways, I don't want my walls to be stained yellow from the smoke. But anyways, we got a lot of transfer news. Actually, a lot of good topics of discussion. The main one on the thumbnail is Blahovic, a Juventus player, very good center forward. He came out as a massive link. I mean, I don't know really that Newcastle are interested. They should be interested in these types of players, to be
Should
honest.
definitely be interested in Vlahovic, but 350k a week he's on at the minute.
Yeah, well, they're gonna have to
But
work
apparently,
something out.
Juve contacted us, or the
Yeah,
agents contacted us for 25 mil, so that's for note.
right, right. And I
43
mean,
goals in 104 games for Juve. That's nearly a goal every other game.
I don't think there's no issues with him as far as personal issues. What they just basically want to move on, and he has a year left in his contract, and so they want to get some compensation for him. This really it's just end of an era for him over there. So that doesn't mean that he's bad or he's not good or
Oh, he's
whatever.
anything but bad. I'd love to get him here.
Hmm. Yeah. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Appreciate you, everyone there. Hail Cesari and Fleming, Kenny, Terry Thomas, Michael NUFC, Choppy there as well. Hit the like button, support the channel, help us out, and yeah, you know what to do. You know what the deal is. Don't forget, you can sign up to the NTTV prediction tournament. The link is pinned in the chat. You might see it in white there, highlighted on the top. You can click there, send your £5 in a £5 initial sign up fee, and sign up for the 25-26 tournament prediction tournament. And there you go. All right, so let's start then with Blaovic. Let's not waste time on him because people will see the thumbnail and then find us talking about somebody else. We don't want to clickbait people. That's the proper clickbait right there. When you put something on the title and you don't talk about it. So the Gazeta dello Sport mentioned that Newcastle United are facing competition from Turkey for Juventus forward Dusan Vlahovic, where is he from? He must be from one of the
Serbia.
yeah. So he must from one of the what do you call
14 goals for Serbia in 34 games, which again is a cracking strike
he
record.
he is what you would call an old fashioned center forward. Um, he can actually
Proper centre forward.
he can shoot from outside the box. He's a target man. He's a big lad. I wouldn't mind him being on the team. He can play with Isak. I still think you need a backup because I think because Blaovic comes, he'll play. Um, but he would only come if Eddie Howe is wanting to change the formation. Now with the back three that he's been using, or back five, you can add an extra man up there, but you're gonna have to take somebody out either in the middle or one of the wings. One of the wings more than likely. Or you can even
Around
still 4-3-3.
4-4-2.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen. That's
No,
too
I can't see
defensive.
that happening, to be fair.
So it is believed that the Magpies would have to rival Galatasaray and Fenerbahce in the race to land the Serbian striker this summer, which I don't think that's tough. That's a tough competition.
Nope.
I don't think that's a tough competition. I think he's still got a lot of gas in the tank to be able to trying to join a side with Champions League. I mean that's a big deal. Obviously those sides play Champions League as well, but I think we can get him if those are the competitions.
As I say, it's just the wages, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know.
The only thing you could do to alleviate the wages is give him a signing-on fee. You know, if we're paying 25 million to Juve, he's worth 50 mil of anybody's money. So give him a 25 million pound signing-on fee, which is still amortizable, and then give him whatever the going rate is, 150, 180k a week.
Yeah, he's going to have to, 180 minimum. I don't think he's going to go for any less than that.
Well, but the 25 million is the equivalent of 100k a week up front. I mean, it would be better for us if we didn't. This is we'll get back into the Lloyd Kelly situation, don't we? Where I don't mind paying him 250k a week if we're buying him for 25 million. Because all you're doing is spreading the other 25 million over 5 years. And it's not costing you PSR-wise. So I don't think that's a bad deal. But whether he's on 350k at the minute.
Yeah.
It's still a lot of money. But I kind of see Galatasaray, paying 350k a week. It's impossible.
The thing is, are we actually in for players like this? We have not been successful at buying players like this that are established players in the world of football. We haven't. We have not bought one that has been established like this. So I wonder why. I mean, we tried to go for Margay, didn't work.
Apparently,
so
Eddie said. See if I can find this.
I think he'd be. And I think he would. One thing about Vlahovic, I think he would be a statement signing for Newcastle. I think Newcastle would slam the table if they make a signing like this. It's a statement signing. It's a proof that the club is for real, and other clubs will see that and say, "Wow, they got a good one."
Well, not only that, it'll also prove that PIF haven't lost interest in the project. We've got to spend big this summer. End of. And if we don't, it just says to me that PIF are not the golden goose that we all thought they were.
By the way, this link comes from the Gazzetta dello Sport. So, and the Chronicle did write about it as well.
It's
so it's not
all over. And somebody was saying injury record, but he's missed 29 games in 5 years. That's 5 games a year.
So Brian Holder's wages mean not a chance. But the problem is that we can't have it both ways. We can't buy cheap players that are great players. That doesn't work. So something's got to give. Something's got to give. And if we're not willing to pay people these type of salaries, then we're not serious. We just got to buy young players and hope that they turn out good. So, but it's got to be clear. The buying strategy has to be, the recruitment strategy has to be clear.
And the salary strategy has to be clear as well.
Yeah. Is Vlahovic a good choice for Newcastle United? Boss Eddie Howe? Well, he's got a good coefficient, that's for sure. I guess that's all that matters when it comes to. It also depends again if he falls into the what Eddie Howe needs in the squad.
The other two major strikers that we've been linked with are Moise Keane and Joe Pedro. Moise Keane is currently on 46k a week. Joe Pedro is on 50k a week. Vlahovic is on 350k a week.
Yeah, but none of the other two that you mentioned are any don't have the same stature as.
Well, Moise Keane has. He got
No,
19 and 32.
Yeah, but once again, doesn't have the reputation of again, we're talking about established, known worldwide players, and they're not that. Plain and simple. You sign Moise Keane, nobody's looking at you saying, "Whoa," you know. Nobody's doing that. Now you can say he's going to do a job. Perfect. That's okay. But it wouldn't be a statement signing. That's a fact.
Italian international, 7 goals in 21 games. It's a bigger country than what Serbia is. Having said that, I bet he's been talking to Mitrovic. Because he plays with Mitrovic for Serbia. So what about Mitrovic coming back? Because we'd get him on the cheap surely from Saudi.
Interesting comments here. Kenny says they're saying we won't pay for the release clause for Keane.
For who? For Keane.
Yeah.
That's only 52 million euros, 45.
See, everything that I've been seeing for Newcastle United, every report from various sources, it's always about it's too much. And you can say that's a strategy, but at some point when you don't sign anybody, that's not a strategy. That's not a strategy to not get overcharged. That's kind of the strategy, the buying strategy. That we won't pay a lot of money. We're not in a position to pay, and we either not in a position to pay a lot of money or we won't, just because we don't want to. And if that's the position, I've seen that actually multiple times now, with PSR problems, without PSR problems. And if that's just the way it is, then we are in a bad situation, because we're not going to get cheap players no more. Everything is high. Look at the cost of eggs, man. Come on, fucking hell. And you think that we're going to buy a cheap player? Gone are the days where you buy cheap players for 10 million, 20 million. Those figures are gone, man.
Well, they should be gone. As far as we are concerned, we're in the Champions League, man.
Yeah, but I agree with you. But what if every season, so far, it's always been, what about Embuemo? Not too high. We wouldn't pay 60. We wouldn't pay, and I think that's cheap.
Well, I don't think. Well, I don't think that's true.
Well, I'm telling you, what's being reported all over the place. Now we can say it's not true and they're lying, but I mean, right now, somebody in the chat said that we wouldn't pay the release clause for Keane, and you said it's £50 million. So it's another one to the
52 million euros.
Well, whatever, So, and you're not even willing to pay that. I mean, we're in a tough situation if that's the case, man, because we're not going to find cheap players. The only cheap players are young players that are unknown,
unproven.
Michael says, I agree when they seem to be milking them fans in the club with all the kits released last season and the new kit. I tell you what, that becomes more and more the truth, because
well, I've been saying it since January.
We got a lot of stuff. Fans buy all these kits, and we have not. Again,
we've got a situation where PIF, who own all these clubs in Saudi Arabia, they're offering 70-odd million for Bernardo. They're offering, paying huge sums to our rivals. They're giving our rivals money.
Well, yeah, but PIF can't look at it like that.
And yet when we sell them St. Maximum, we'll get 23 million.
Well, that's something to look at, but also they got a business going. They can't just say Newcastle everything, and because it's much bigger than that for them. when it comes to business, I mean, unfortunately, it is the way it is. It's just um, they're not going to say we're not going to do business with any football club anymore other than Newcastle. That's not business, man. I agree with you to a certain extent that it doesn't look good, or at least they should do it with us as well. Put us in the pot. Brian Hall says we can't pay the wages with PSR wage structure until we either bump the income massively or take the Prem to court for anti-competitive practices. That's already been done, and I don't even know what's going to happen with Man City and them. So it's all been talk as far as now. It was a big deal at the time, and nobody talks about it anymore. So I'm not sure on what's happening with that stuff. But the fact of the matter is, we have not paid for a player for 3 windows. You would assume that
really Isaac that you could say we have paid top market value for.
Right. Yeah,
he's the only player that we've bought. And even then, he was hardly a household name when we bought him.
No, but he was not known to you, but he was already known around the world. Not in the level of the top striker in the world like he is now, but he was a good signing nonetheless.
Fantastic signing.
So, but yeah, I mean that's the situation that we find ourselves. So every time we find a name like this, we always about the money. We can't pay him. We can't do this. And man, it's frustrating and scary because we have not bought a player in 3 windows, and we still can't pay anybody. I mean, that's just something that doesn't make sense.
Well, that was it. There's nobody telling me we couldn't spend 50 mil or even more when you amortize it. We could have spent 80, 90, 100 mil in January on players, and we didn't. And that, to me, was Mitchell getting his feet under the table, the board deciding they're going to back him, wanting Eddie to fail, and when he didn't, they're left with egg on their face. And until we go out and make, as you've just said, a statement signing, I am of the firm opinion that PIF have either lost faith in the project because of all the obstacles that they've come up against with PSR and all the rest, and they've seen we can't just do what City and Chelsea did. So they've said, well, so what's the point of having all this money if we can't spend it?
Yeah.
Let's concentrate on the Saudi League.
Here's the thing. Look, Terry Thomas says we haven't signed any so-called big name players. Howe has coached good prospects, and I include Isak and Bruno in that prospect. Well, it can be. Isak can be. Isak's over 70 million, man. You can't. That's not a prospect. Surely he wasn't a worldwide striker at the an elite striker like he is now. But
when Kane was going for 150,
yeah, but you're not going to pay 70 million for a striker and him, and you don't expect him to perform. I agree with that. So the thing is, again, the last one was Isak. You can say Tonali there tonight, but Tonali was cheap. So
cheap because they knew what was coming around the corner.
He was cheap, 50 million. Or else he would have been around 100 as well, like Declan Rice, like all the other guys. So he was cheap. We just got him on the cheap. But again, we're going to have to do something. So, I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. Craig Wright says it's the wages, not the transfer fee. And Wemo wanted his wage quadrupled. Well, I don't know. Okay.
I don't mind that. He was on 45. Quadruple, it's 180. He's definitely worth that, in my opinion.
At this point, maybe so, yeah. At this point, maybe so. And Wilmore was wages. He reportedly wants 250.
I've never seen that anywhere.
Well,
he wanted the only reports I've seen, he was going to quadruple his wages, which would put him on 180. 250 is too much.
Kenny offered 100 million for Fernandez, but he turned it down. Fernandez, who's Fernandez?
Well, the Mini Bruno.
The other Bruno.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess here's the thing.
So
that's another thing.
700 grand a week.
But that's another question that we need to be asking ourselves. How is we have PSR problem. We haven't signed a player in 3 years. Although Man United, you didn't want him to win the Europa League, so they didn't have the leverage of having money, I guess.
Correct.
But they're going to make Mbeumo sign. They signed Cunha, and
but the reason that might be
no. They have Bruno Fernandes has declined going to Saudi Arabia. That's not going to happen anymore.
That's right. So that 70 million they're not getting, so they might not be able to sign Mbeumo.
No, but that's not what was being reported. It was being reported from every media outlet out there, according to that is linked to close to Man United. They're still going to make the signings. So you tell me, how's that going to work? How's that going to work? If they're able to make those signings, it's a joke, man. You know, now you're going to tell me. Probably, yeah, they make more shirt sales than us.
All right. Their commercial revenue was double what ours is.
But how much is double? Though you can make 100 million worth of.
They are taking 350 million a year more than we are. They're 700 million plus. We are just under 350.
I just feel like it's such a.
But again, their wages, their salaries, if you remember
but the salaries are a lot higher, exactly.
Yeah, they are more than double as well.
So they're gonna make 100, and that's just the beginning. They're gonna make 100 million.
They are paying now salaries on players, you know, the likes of Rashford and Sancho, who, you know, that it's just money. They're hemorrhaging money. Which is why they're having to sack kitchen staff and stop paying the ex-players' funeral fund. Ridiculous. 20 grand a year, and they've stopped paying it.
But, you know, if they're able to make these signings and we can't, I mean, it's just not good, man. And listen, we got to keep every possibility open, right? And one of the possibilities is that we may be able to spend, but we don't want to. We got a certain limit. We don't pay above 40, 45, because that seems to be the target, really. If you ask 50, 60, too much money. So that may be also by the way, you got to keep an open mind to everything, right? Because we seem to think, yeah, they want to pay for it. We as a club, we want to go get signings, but maybe we have a internal, what do you call it, rule that we don't overpay for players because Master Eddie Howe can make them stars.
That's exactly my point. That up until this point, really, everybody has invested. All Newcastle fans have invested in PIF, thinking they are the golden goose. And are we actually realising that no, they're not? They're just like Ashley. They're in it for the business. They're in it for the, look at the advertising Sella have got. Sella have had to employ 9 times more people than they were employing before they took the sponsorship with us because of the leads generated by the sponsorship they've got at Newcastle. So they're just using it as a vehicle. Noon, I don't know what Noon do. I've never used them, but I don't even know if they're in this country.
But they're certainly advertised, So we got to put that into perspective as well, because we want to think that everybody's against us and we're always the affected.
Yeah, and that's what we've hitherto. The Newcastle fan base has basically decried PSR and PPF and everything to go with it, and we've believed in PIF's desire to put as much into the project as they possibly can. That is turning out not to be the case, I think.
Because,
if we're penny pinching all the way along the line still and hoping that we're going to buy unpolished diamonds that Eddie can polish.
Listen, that's what I'm saying. That may be their strategy, because so far, to a certain extent, it has worked. To a certain extent, it has worked. But in my opinion, just as I criticize Eddie on certain things, I'm going to criticize PIF because it has worked by barely. It's worked barely. It's not fair that Eddie has the same players to work with over and over and over. Although I think this is a better squad than the one, 3 years ago. But you got to renew. You got to add more players because players expire, and we have a lot of those. So Stephen Harker says you will see when ridiculous. No, but the point is, if you actually want to think, yeah, every time we bring up Mike Ashley is a curse word, it's a bad thing, it's sacrilege, it's blasphemy. Perfect, I understand that. But the fact that if you are open minded enough to understand what he's trying to say, and I'm not one to defend this twat, but it is what it is. That not that they're going to run the club down to where they don't sign anybody, but they might feel like this is the way to go, which is buy cheap players, buy unknown players, and Eddie Howe somehow will turn them into good players, like he, to a certain extent, has on certain individuals, because they haven't bought anybody, man. And you can't tell me that in 3 windows we haven't been able to be able to sign one, and every time we are rumored to buy a player, that you got to pay 50 million, 60 million, and Buemo, this Keen guy, Vlahovic is too much money. You can't, every time it's, too much money. Newcastle are not ready to pay for that. I don't know. So that's me defending you for the year. So if you want to defend yourself.
Well, all I'm saying is, I don't think it's any coincidence that we haven't signed a proper player since Amanda went. And that's because she did have our backs. And she was all out to spend every single penny she could, to such an extent that she overspent. But there's no evidence at all now that PIF are actually willing to put their hands in their pockets. No evidence at all.
And listen, we may be wrong, right? It may just that they want to.
We are wrong, obviously.
All
I'm saying is all the evidence for why have we not got? Here's the thing: we've sacked Paul Mitchell. The timing of this, sacking Paul Mitchell, and still allowing him to work a month's notice in the most crucial month of the season.
You don't think we should do that?
Damn right we shouldn't. I certainly wouldn't be doing it. He's going to know all our inner secrets, who we're after, who we're chasing, how much we're prepared to pay. And he can go somewhere else and give them all that information. No, thank you. Should have been out the door.
That's the conspiracy theory. Well, I might agree with you. I actually said it on Monday that, we're going to have to trust it on his work ethics to be able to do the right thing. And by the way, PIF they're going to give him a job as DOF in Saudi Arabia. So you can't tell me.
Put them on the back burner. It would have been a PR disaster for PIF to have taken Mitchell's side against Eddie. I've still got this little conspiracy theory that the reason they didn't back him in January was because of this power struggle between Eddie and Mitchell, and they were hoping that that Eddie was going to fail, so they'd be able to turn around to Mitchell from now and say, right, get on, do what you want. And if that's without Eddie, but with Eddie getting Champions League, winning the trophy, it's knocked all their plans haywire.
So here's the thing, though, because Craig Wright says, "When are they not going to build a new stadium?" So, and that's right. They're going to build a new stadium, and you can say that's going to be for the business, right? And you can say so. That's the main difference, clearly between, Ashley and Ashley. I thought everything was a business, but he would run everything to the ground and just barely and just keep all the earnings, right?
Well, no, to be fair, he didn't.
Yeah, he did though, man. Stop lying. No, don't do that. I'm not gonna let you defend him more than once in this channel. Then PIF is looking at it on the bigger, like, we're gonna make money. We're gonna do all this. We're gonna become essentially what Tottenham have become, right? And which is the Disney of football. Beautiful stadium, got all this revenue, but they're not really spending on players.
Well, they
I'm
do
afraid that we're
spend
going to
money.
be that way. But I'm afraid we're going to be that way. But that it could be a possibility, and that's what
Tottenham have spent plenty of money. They've just spent it badly.
well, not according to Tottenham fans. Well, exactly, they don't spend it. They have gotten us a loan for this Werner guy, and he's leaving again. That they don't rate. So anyway, we're gonna move on to more transfers. But Vlahovic, to me, I would take him. Rugby says he's not a fan of him. I watch a lot of Italian football, huge wages too. I rate him. I do. I watch Italian football as well from time to time, and I think he's a good target man. Um, but I guess to each their own. Alan Schoen, welcome mate, says Newcastle won great players on Poundland wage, not going to happen. Well, it seems like that's what's happening, and unfortunately, in today's world, you cannot do that. You cannot do that. And that is the biggest thing. Ian Fleming has a super chat here for us. I urge you to not comment. Did you enjoy the women's match last night? So when it's just a man focused on the men's side of football at the moment. So we'll leave it.
Your question, Ian Fleming. No, I did not.
Kev Moore says,
I don't even know who was playing, and what's more, I couldn't care who was playing.
Kev Moore says, if he did that win, then Newcastle could take him to court so he can't spill our secrets. And that's not true. I mean, he's not going to. What are you talking about? Spill our secrets? He's not going to go out on the press conference and say, "Yeah, I got this target from Newcastle." No, he's just going to go to his next job and try to get.
Just out of interest, by the way, Spurs have already spent 36 million in this window. They spent 175 million in the last window.
Mm-hmm.
They spent 207. Sorry, not the last window. And 24-25, 175 million. 23-24, they spent 272 million.
Yeah, we did spend.
22-23, they spent 179 million.
We've also spent, by the way. We just spent on we just do less than what they do. Is buy young players and experienced players and players that don't nobody care about.
We spent when Amanda was here.
We also spent. Literally, we have spent in the last 3 windows. Literally, we bought Asula, we bought all them young twats that nobody cares.
10 million on Asula, man.
No, man, we actually have spent more than that in the last 3 windows. We bought this guy from, I don't know, some of the Croatian countries, some of the Yugoslavia countries. I can't remember his name. I don't even know where he's at. I don't even know where he's at no more. We buy these young, inexperienced players, man. But we bought Lewis Hall. We bought that's a good one. We spend, I think, 25 million for that?
That was all on Amanda's watch?
No. Lewis Hall was bought this last season.
We got him on loan in Amanda's watch.
Loan is not buying.
No, it was a loan to buy.
But we officially bought him.
Obligation to buy, in fact.
We, if he played a certain amount of games. So we officially bought him this past summer. But anyways, let's keep going. A lot of people coming in the chat. Tori Hunter says he held 130 million debt for us. We had debt. Says about I don't think we had debt with Ashley though. That's
no, the fact that we didn't have any debt was the reason that PIF were able to spend that extra 105 million, the 35 million for 3 years under Meg Ashley.
Pivas.
How we were able to spend what we did, bringing in Byrne, Botman, Trips, Pope, Isaac.
So interesting here from John, who I could agree to a certain extent because let me read the comment. John says, lads, what's your take on this how Chelsea have navigated PSR? Newcastle could learn a lot of them, in my opinion. What other clubs in the Premier League would have thought about selling a hotel and their women's team to themselves, etc. Listen, we that's why I keep talking about the battered wife syndrome that Newcastle fans have, because to a certain extent we want to we only want to we're blindsided. We want to say they're horrible, the top 6, that they're the evil of the world, and that, I could agree to a certain extent. But we also got to take a look at what's happening. They're getting away with it. They're doing it the legal way. Why can't we? What's happening to our people that are not open-minded? people give them crap for the hotel, buying it, selling it to themselves, but it's legal. They've done it. Why couldn't we do it?
We haven't got a hotel to sell.
Well, we can build one and sell it. We can actually. It's actually somebody said that the old St. James's Park, this one that we're playing in, could be turned into a hotel in a different company, sell it to ourselves, do a lot of that maneuvering.
That's in the future.
Yeah, that's right.
And
But
as for the women's team, that's now under review. They may be getting done for that.
But they've been able to spend $1 billion last window, man. I mean, that's badly to a certain extent. A lot of people didn't like their signings. Some actually said that they do like their signings now because they some of them have turned out to be all right. But at the end of the day, is we also got to take a look at what's happening on the other teams and see how they're getting away with it. And that sounds bad, right? That sounds like, oh my God, we're doing something illegal. No, we're not. We're not. So we gotta keep an open mind to what's happening out there. Giniesta Wijnaldum, by the way, I like your second name there. One of my favorite players, Wijnaldum. I think you say it. I say Wijnaldum. From one of the proper players, man, and he came from the World Cup, and we sold him for no damn reason. But anyways, says Chelsea can also sell players to Saudi. We don't have that option. Well, we don't have. I mean, we don't. We do, but it seems like Saudi don't want to buy our players.
Exactly, and that's my point.
And I feel like that should be something. Well, I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of weird. So that was the Vlahovic. Let me know if you would take Vlahovic at Newcastle. Let's talk a little bit about more recent news. Actually, we've been sort of rocked that Brian Mbeumo has decided to choose other clubs, but we're so that's him out of the equation for now, at least.
For now.
And then you got the Lap as well, choosing another club.
So interesting to see what sort of deal he's got at Chelsea.
Yeah, and that's not 14 years, man. You're lying like a dog, man. That's crazy. It's actually 6 years. Which is still a long time, by the way.
Years.
6. But John Rudy exclusive from the Chronicle. Newcastle have made a contract decision with John Rudy as they prepare to release their retained list. The Magpies signed the veteran on a 1-year deal last summer and don't appear to be looking to extend it. So that's him knackered out of the club, John Rudy. And by the way, tomorrow night we're going to be doing a renew or release show on certain players, certain individuals. The Chronicle also we're going off the Chronicle here. They sell the Spurs.
Alone.
They could sell Spurs. Spurs could sell Son. The Saudi Pro League could be interested in. He's 32 years of age. They put us there, as I don't know, somebody that could be interested, but I don't think so. Well, you sell a lot of shirts though. You definitely sell a lot of shirts. He's on the right on the right wing he could do a job. On the left he works on the left and in the center, but I just don't see it. I wouldn't go for it. To be honest with you.
No, he's lost his sparkle since Harry Kane went.
Yeah. Mitrovic, another one named. Former Newcastle United striker Alexander Mitrovic was a target for Manchester United. With the Serbian set to leave the Saudi side Al Hilal, where Paul Mitchell's going to this summer. So Everton, West Ham are emerging as possible targets. Would you go for him again?
I always liked Mitrovic. I always liked him.
As a backup?
I didn't think Rafa gave him a fair crack of the whip, really.
If that's the case, I would go get Joselu. I'd give Joselu another shout.
No, I think he's past it now.
Joselu was just winning the Champions League last season, man. Get out of here. What do you mean he gets past it? And he was scoring goals left and right.
When he was in the team, he was never picked.
Didn't Mitrovic have a heart attack? Actually, he did, didn't he?
I tell you what is interesting. That I just came across. Newcastle sold out. They're playing Celtic in a pre-season friendly, and Newcastle sold out our 7,200 allocation in 3 days.
Uh, well,
Celtic,
that's not
Celtic season ticket holders are refusing to buy tickets for the match because they think they should get them for free. So it's going to, the time is now finished where season tickets had priority to buy the tickets, and virtually none of them have been taken up.
Yeah.
So they've gone on open sale now. So it's going to be interesting to see.
By the way, very important. We're going to have a good game in the Sela Cup against Atletico Madrid. So that's going to be an amazing game to rub feathers with what now is a top club. What now is a top club. Before it wasn't, but now it is one of the emerging clubs in the 21st century. Like Man City, to a certain extent, they haven't gotten to the Man City levels. I think Simeone is almost myth and not so much reality, but you know, it is what it is, and it's going to be good to play against a team like that. Trippier will be delighted, maybe, to see old faces. So
and we're playing the ladies as well.
And the ladies will be playing with them as well, so that's a good one. And the Sela Cup, but I don't think it's going to be a Sela. It's just going to be a final.
There's going to be one game, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to have a tournament, man. Come on now. The losing prestige, the Sela Cup, season by season.
We are
anyway,
the current holders.
Yeah, back to back. Alan McTeer here. Welcome, mate. Says handling hotels and the women's team to yourself is nothing but money laundering. Surely criminal offense unless you are in the cartel Big Six. Well, listen. I highly doubt they would be doing it if it wasn't legal.
Well, it's under scrutiny now. They're looking at it.
So we shall wait and see. But thanks, Alan. Kenny says Mitro refused to play for Fulham until they sold him for bad attitude. Says Kenny. Well, I don't know. I probably wouldn't go for Mitrovic either. He would be a good backup, a definite backup.
He wouldn't come to be a backup though.
Get at it. Well, he can stay where he's at. To what? What are you talking about, man? With Mitrovic, we put the stipulations.
Experience of playing for Newcastle and not getting a game.
So another one that's big time linked is going to be AC Milan's defender Theo Hernandez, French international. He's Spanish as well. AC Milan left back. Interesting because he was linked by the Italian media with a potential move to Newcastle. Hernandez is reportedly poised to reject a move to Al Hilal. Everybody goes to Al Hilal, man. What's happening over there? Everybody's linked to that. Are they the big club in Saudi Arabia?
Well, is he just won their Champions League equivalent?
Is that where Cristiano Ronaldo plays?
No, I think he's Etihad, isn't he?
No, not Etihad. No, he might be Al Hilal. By the way, he's leaving Cristiano Ronaldo.
Well, he wants to. He wants to join somebody in time for the World Club Cup.
Come on now. As he considers offers from Newcastle and Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid might be the move for him, but listen, he's experienced, World Cup type left back, all the experience in the world, very much in his prime. You know, so those are players that make a noise when they come to Newcastle, man. I don't know that he wouldn't replace Lewis Hall, though I wouldn't want to do that, but I don't know. I'm kind of in we're kind of already in a situation with the left side. Like we already got too much going on there. So I don't know. Here says that my target should leave the club in the summer so they could look him as a backup. Listen, if Hernandez can come, Target will just adjust. Trust me. You rest assured. It won't be an issue there. But Aaron Kane says we need a backup left back in the future, to be fair to Hull, and also to play multiple tournaments. You know, we don't think about that, but we need to. We need to have a strong squad, and I think the Carabao Cup, FA Cup, could be somebody that we need to take a look at. And listen, he might be open-minded to say, look, I'll play on and off. but you gotta try. That's the problem, though. We don't. We seem to answer questions answer questions for players. Like, nah, he won't come. Oh, he's too much money. Oh, he's not. Just ask, man. Approach. Try it. Don't knock it till you try. The worst they can say is no. So I wouldn't mind an approach. Al Hilal in Milan agreed terms for sale of the defender for £30 million. Newcastle are not actively seeking a left back, but certainly not at that price. So I don't know. We shall see. Another rumor that's out now. Adrian Pickett says Alex Murphy may be our backup left back next season. Come on, man.
Well, Murphy's more of a centre back than
yeah, that's true actually. But
and if we want to put a centre back at left back, there's only one man to do that job.
Yeah, none. We ain't got none. Doesn't exist. They might do, Chris. They just won't tell us. Exactly. Well, you're right. Coin a phrase. Ramsdale in talks as well. He's been linked to the tune, and supposedly Newcastle United want a goalkeeper for some reason. We just want to buy what we don't need. We are. That's the things that irritate me that don't make sense, right? We don't have money. We can't pay $50 million for Keane, $50 million for Mbeumo. We gotta keep, but then we go and shop for a goalkeeper. Come on, man. It's like the person that goes to the grocery shop without a list and buys everything in sight other than what they need. Come on, man. It makes no sense. No sense. Ramsdale linked. He's going to apparently leave Southampton. DX, he can tell us. He's our Southampton reporter. He's reportedly in talks with West Ham over a quick return to the Premier League. So, I don't know. I mean, would you take him? I mean, he's kind of got more experience than Trafford. What is the difference between Trafford and Ramsdale?
I don't rate Ramsey. I don't rate a goalkeeper who is on record as saying himself, I can't concentrate for 90 minutes. That's not what I want to hear from a goalkeeper. And they were his own words.
That's true. That's
did well
true.
by Southampton, didn't he?
And actually, he got his daddy involved because he wasn't playing at Arsenal. So his daddy came out and said, "Why's my?" It's like one of the times where when you're playing a local football club and you don't get played, so your daddy comes on and he's like, "Hey, why's my son not playing?" Shut the hell up, man. Your son's got pretty big lad to speak for himself if he needs to. So yeah, I wouldn't go. Now, we're not going to touch it.
Apparently, Trafford's a done deal. By multiple reports are saying the deal was done last summer. Had we been able to come up with a 20 million at the time, and now it's 30 million.
Yeah, 100%. And some of these players we're not going to talk about because we got the show tomorrow. Some of our players, so stay tuned for that one tomorrow, 9:30. We're going to talk about renew or release. Which one will it be for certain players? But this one is interesting because I would go for this one as well. But he's been debunked already as a possible link by Craig Hope. I don't know why, but it's Kingsley Coman. He's an unlikely link. Bayern Munich journalist Christian Falk has claimed that Newcastle are keen on a French player on the French winger Kingsley Coman, who is available for £29 million. Coman was once of European football's elite wide players and has had an incredible career, but hasn't hit the heights recently that he once performed at. Nearly 29 years of age, on and around 275,000 a week. He doesn't fit the mold of a Newcastle signing. I don't know about that. What the hell does that mean? I mean, it only means that we don't sign players that paid a lot of money. Okay, but is that the mold? There's no. I've followed Kingsley Coman's career very closely. He's a really excellent player. Players don't forget how to play. They just have a bad spell. But I mean, I agree. 275. He wouldn't be on those wages for Newcastle. But he doesn't have attitude problems. He doesn't have. So what would be not the? What did they mean by he's not the type of signing that we would sign? We talk about elite players. We don't sign elite players. Well, that could be. So again, we need to be open-minded, but it's very unlikely that will happen anyway. He'll probably go to an Aston Villa. He'll probably go to I don't know, to a Chelsea, to somewhere like that. You know,
But
he
he's
played
on
it.
300, he's in 300K a week, and he's contracted till 2027. So he ain't going to take a salary cut when he can just sit there.
Yeah, but he wants to play, man. He wants to play. He's not. See, we got not all players are douchebags. That they just want to. And I will agree as well that not all players will just take a 70% cut. That ain't going to happen. But half, or more than half, or maybe you can work a deal to get them on loan. But you have to be open minded. You got to be able to try to work things
Well,
around.
he is playing for Bayern. He played 28
He's
games
playing
last season.
100%. He's playing. But it feels like certain clubs, and that's okay. Again, doesn't mean that they're bad players. Certain clubs like Juventus, like Bayern Munich, they just want to do a little refresh. A little. You got to move the cattle around. You know what I mean?
Which is exactly what we haven't done, haven't been able to do
Exactly.
for 3 windows now. I mean, it's ridiculous. Eddie came out in the press conference one day and said, we're getting stale.
Yeah.
And you're bound to if you don't bring in new faces.
You listen. You got at some point it's a club. You got to say, as Southern Cowboys say over here, we got to come on and wrangle up the cattle, man. You gotta move the cattle around, because they stay in the same place for a long time. They get comfortable. They don't want to move. They don't, they want. So you got to Coleman come into a new project. Exciting project, Champions League and all that. It might be exciting for him. He can play on either side, by the way. The same with Leroy Sané, who has been, and he's on the free. I'm going to put my money on the line that we're not even thinking of them, which is, I think, is a shame. I think it's a shame. But some people will say, well, we might be. We're in the back end. We're working our magic. Okay, well, all right. But I don't know, man. We at some point something's got to give. But then again, if our strategy is to buy young players so Eddie Howe can fix them, then that's our strategy. But we just got to make it known so people stop with their high hopes. But anyways, that was Kingsley Coman there, excellent player. We're not going to talk about Grealish no more, man. Please, Jack Grealish. I mean, it's just we're knackered. I'm knackered at talking to him about him, man. It is what it is. Even Alan Shearer said, I highly doubt that's going to happen. So let's talk about Mohamed Kudus, who's been another one linked for a minute now. Interesting. Mohamed Kudus. Thank you, everybody that's watching, by the way. 130 people watching at the moment. Hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And thank you for your support as usual. So Mohamed Kudus, he's got some attitude problems with West Ham, or certainly he thought he was going to start doing MMA against what was it, Everton? Or he punched somebody? Or was it us? No, it wasn't us. It was no, it wasn't us.
Listen, I quite like Kudus. On his day, he's proper exciting footballer. But he's Timu Mbwemo. He's Aldi.
He's Timu Mbwemo. Oh, I can't believe you said that, man. Kudus. So you can't say you like him then if you think that he's worthless, man. Come on.
Well, because he's not in the same league as Mbwemo is what I'm saying.
Oh,
but,
my gosh.
If we were to get him, I wouldn't be distraught. I think, again, if Eddie can work his magic, there's definitely a player there. As far as take-ons are concerned, he's like ASM.
Mm-hmm.
You can beat a player.
Yeah, but when you compare him to ASM, that's not good, man. To me, ASM was exciting to see, but he wasn't. ASM is not Mr. Newcastle United. I'm going to be the one to say it because I know, I want to get all the criticism, but ASM is not Mr. Newcastle United. Trust me. He's no Toon legend. Actually, I was upset when the club decided to say happy birthday to him on social media and decided not to honor John Tudor and the other former team player that passed away around the same time. It was John Tudor and what's the other one, man? I had it on the tip of my tongue. Who
Alan
done
Shoulder?
Alan Shoulder, exactly. The Toon did not do anything about it. Confirmed by Steve Ray, confirmed it as well. And you didn't pay attention because you sleep. That's your nap time during match time. But I think it's a travesty that we could acknowledge two proper Toon legends that passed
You
away.
could hardly call Alan Shoulder a Toon.
Nah, but that, come on, man. It was better than ASM, I tell you that.
He was a Blythe legend.
Well, Toon is in the town. I mean, listen. But ASM, happy birthday, and I think it was around the same time actually, and not acknowledge the other. Come on, man, it's not cool. Anyways, and DX agrees with me. One of the few things that we ever agree on. So kudos. I don't know. I guess he could be.
Yeah, I think he could be, especially as an impact.
I don't know how much money they want for him though. That's the problem. But I think he would come. I think he would leave London to come to Newcastle win. I think he would. But I just don't know, man. I'm not sold yet. I'm not sold yet on Kudus, man. I'll be afraid he'll punch somebody in the head. He'll punch Eddie Howe in the head for not playing him, man. I don't know. Last but not least, they put on here Jadon Sancho. He's leaving Chelsea when the contract ends in June 30th after agreement could not be reached over personal terms for loan and turn permanent. So I guess he's on a like 270 or something like that. And well, that's what I'm saying. But he's got that contract, so he's trying to. Chelsea obviously are not trying to pay that much money, so they're trying to lower that, and he didn't go for it. Therefore, he's gonna have to keep. The loan is ending, and he's going to have to come back to Man United. I'm going to say a big no on Sancho. In the beginning of the season, I would have probably said yes because I like those type of players. But the fact that he's not willing to cooperate, then I mean it's impossible when that becomes the issue. You got to understand where you are in the pecking order, and you're not in a position to be demanding. You got a lucky contract, but if you want to keep somewhat of good money coming in, just a lot of money. Say you pay half of that, or 120, 130 a week, and and you're still in a club that you can play and actually improve yourself. Then something's got to give, man. You got to know. And football is a brutal thing, man. Trust me, brutal in quote, by the way, because these twats get paid more money than some people will ever see. So come on, man. Anyways, McAtee was another one. We talked about him on Monday. Actually, I would get him in the midfield, definitely. Cherky. We keep talking about him for windows, and nothing's happening. Ekitiki as well. So, I don't know. These are all the links. But at this point in time,
millions of links.
Nothing but links.
Concrete.
Nothing but links. Let's finish up with some comments here. Before we gotta go, I gotta go to work, man. I actually got a real job, unlike Mighty Win. It was a BS. Brian Hull says we can't pay the wages with PSR wage structure until we either bump up the income massively or take Prem to court. Oh yeah, I think we read that one. Stephen Field, CEO leaving, DOF sacked. WTF is going on? Is this affecting our transfer window? Well, one would think, because I mean, who's gonna be running the club? Oh, Eddie Howe. We just got Eddie Howe as the CEO, DOF/manager. Everything will be all right. He does everything in a tune, as well as design the shirts. No wonder some people weren't too happy with the initial designs. Kev Moore, Ratcliffe said that if they do not do the cuts, the club would have gone under by the end of the year. So how the hell can they afford these two players? Makes no sense.
Well, I think it's because they were expecting to get the money for Bruno.
Yeah, but they weren't going to pay $100 million. That's
no, 70 apparently.
That is crazy numbers, man.
It is? 70.
I wish we would get
700K a week.
I wish we would get a player Longstaff for if he goes for 70, Longstaff should go for 30, 35. Do us a favor, man, and save the guy's life. Getting paid 200 a week.
Apparently, man, you are in for him.
Oh my
sniffing.
God. Kenny W. De Bruyne is free and no one consider him. I agree with that. I 100% agree with that. Got all the experience you need that too, by the way. Proper experience, not somebody that's been in the Prem and Championship up and down for 20 years. But this is proper experience. Winning every single thing. Winning mentality, telling the guys, do this, do that, calm down. We got a lot of time left. Like, all these things matter, man. And he doesn't have to play every game. He can play here and there, and he'll use direct on the pitch. You've got to do that. We've got to do. Look at Man City, how they did it. They had a lot of experience as well and a lot of young talent. So you got to kind of copy, man. You got to do it. I remember Chelsea had Michael Essien at one point, and he wasn't one of the youngest guys, but he was right there in the midfield getting the job done. It's called PSR. We have to future project ourselves. We have to future protect ourselves. We are on the scale of these historic Big Six bell ends.
The only kind of get-out clause that I would give PIF is that they currently might be so fixated on getting the stadium plans finalised and done and dusted, and that's not going to be that's not an easy job to get over the planning hurdles, and they might be using all their energy on the stadium plans at the expense of the team. That they're looking and they're saying, the team's plodding along, we're doing okay. We've won a cup, we're in the Champions League. Let's concentrate on the stadium.
Craig Wright, he says,
give them a buy on that if that was the case.
Craig Wright says Newton Heath rumored to be paying $250 for Mbeumo. Man.
Well, like I said, I've only ever seen 180k.
Cara Murphy says Vlahovic dream on. Brentford players don't even want to join you. So I guess he's not a Turin fan. Okay, man. Sorry
Brentford
about that.
have been linked with Sancho.
Yeah. Terry Thomas, could that be a part of the recent delay in the stadium announcement, Mr. Wynn? Do you reckon? I don't.
Well, as I say, that would be the one acceptable excuse for PIF not devoting their considerable resources into team strengthening if they're concentrating on the stadium.
Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of a lame excuse anyway, man. Come on, man.
I agree it is, but...
not a fan of Vlahovic. I watch a lot of Italian football. Hugh Wedges too says rugby. Well, John says, lads, why do you think the club hasn't gotten sponsorship on the training kit and training ground? Surely now we are a Champions League team. We would fetch big money in sponsorship interest, and now Amanda is gone. The thing about that is, and I'll let Wynn say, it's not about qualifying one time for Champions League. I think sponsors need to see that you are a Champions League regular. That's the thing. We can't just. I mean, I think we still are proving that. We made it 2 out of 3, so that's good.
The point about that is that the Premiership Governance Committee still have the existing associated party transactions rules in place. So my excuse again for PIF in this regard is that they're waiting till those rules are clarified so they can then possibly come in and Aramco will give us a deal for £50 million stadium naming rights. And they couldn't legally do that at the minute. And if they were to do an interim deal, if you like, for, say, 10 million, which could be justified in terms of what everybody else is paying, then for to then up that to 50 million and put the money in that they want to put in, there would be holdover. Why was it just worth 10 million last season and now all of a sudden it's worth 50 million.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Interesting.
again is why I think none of these sponsorship deals have happened yet, because they're wanting to come in big when they know they can do it legally.
Yep. Jeff Luff, welcome, mate. Says he's too injury prone about Coleman, I think. Mike here, welcome, Mike. Feeling bad deja vu with the start of this window. Seems we've become allergic to signing anyone except second-rate goalkeepers. I agree with you. Also, it's the fourth day of the window, so
Exactly.
the two can exist for now. But trust me, I'll be very much on your side. At the end, if we have not, we need to sign a player at the end of this window. By the end of this window, we have a whole month to sign one player. If we can't do that, alarm bells.
4 players.
By the end of this month. I'm sorry. By the end of this month. By the end of this month, we need to sign one at least. By the end of this month. If not, I will be ringing the alarm bells because we ain't gonna do it in the following month. Trust me. I've seen this movie before. Oh shoot. Damn it, I deleted some comments for no reason. Jordy Dan, I'd love a big signing out of the blue, like Rodrigo or Barcola. It's a statement, makes people take notice in being in proper form, quality we need, therefore a win for the club. I 100% agree with you, Mr. Jordy Dan. I think you are spot on that. We need, and it's not about thinking what other people think of us. We don't care. It's not about that. If you sign a big player, people take you serious. Most importantly, the players in the locker room take you serious. They see a Barcola coming to the club, like, whoa. The wingers all of a sudden start sweating. And I like that. Anyways, I love it. Jeffrey Love says, there's another Love. Are you guys related? Everyone needs a chill. It's still early. It needs to chill. Anyways, there's one comment there, which I love. David Knight, Eddie Howe is designing the stadium as well. There we go, baby. Eddie Howe, the king of kings, taking care of every single thing Newcastle United. If the tickets don't work, if they don't scan properly in the gate, it's Eddie Howe's fault. He's taking care of everything. So make sure you send an email to eddiehowe@nufc.com. And anyways, it's been a lovely show, ladies and gents. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Just to put team season correct, he's saying, do you know the average stadium sponsor is £80 million plus for a top side? 50 million is a joke. The top sponsorship deal in UEFA right now is for the Bay Arena at Bayer Leverkusen, which is for 25.2 million a season.
Mm-hmm.
The Spotify Camp Nou is 16.8 million. Alliance Arena Munich, 9.2 million. So, 50 million a season is a joke.
Anyways, we shall be back tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. with the renew or release. We're going to be taking a look at a lot of our players. Should they be released? Should they be renewed? Exactly. So join us tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. Well, I'm not much alone guy, especially when Shola Amiobi is in charge. So
correct.
Anyways, thank you, everybody. Hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Sign up for the prediction tournament. The link is in the chat. £5. Sign up. The money gets added and divided between the top places. And yeah, join that and become a member. Help us out. And, of course, you get a lot of perks for that. Anyways, thank you, everybody. We will see you all on the next one. Bye-bye.
Ta-da.